some production company maybe, but we quickly launched into the credit title here. Cityscapes certainly are never inspiring when watching credit sequences out of Hong Kong movies, and IFD did this often, just random shots of Hong Kong. But I love that the music that's essentially on top of sort of these, the night scenes in Hong Kong is kind of jarring music. I thought that like the VHS that David provided for us had like damage to the audio because it sounds very jarring. But as a matter of fact, it is the music as intended. It's reminiscent kind of if any of you guys heard Cabaret Voltaire, this kind of experimental synth music. But it certainly evokes mood. It's
got an odd kind of like a discordant kind of quality, almost like out of tune.
Yeah,
it's really it's quite a harsh sound to it as well.
Yeah, and otherwise the movie.
Film.
Yeah, exactly. And overall, the movie has quite a pronounced synthesizer score. Otherwise, which I really dig.
I really like it. Yeah, it's very strange and off-kilter, but really nice.
Yeah, and therefore probably not stolen from that's Ecstasy of Gold from Good, Bad and Ugly.
Do you recognise that one, Ken? Though
by now I do. Yeah. It just took me watching Leone films and listening to Morricone scores. I finally know what Ecstasy of Gold is. I'm behind the times. It's a fair VHS print. This that was put out by Eastern Heroes in the UK. We're watching a UK source here. But the Laserdisc that came out in Hong Kong from Star was full screen like this is, which is not a problem. The movie plays out well in full screen, but they didn't even have any English subtitles on it. They had newly generated big ass Chinese subtitles, so it was not it was lacking English, and the subtitles that were chosen were not subtle in any way, which is a shame. And this has sort of never been seen since. I saw it, a lesser copy of it based on this very subtitle print, which is all fine. The subtitles are very small, so they're never cropped, really, even in this, which was always a 185 frame movie from the beginning anyway.
These opening scenes, I really like them. I think they do a great job of like laying out his characters, his character traits, and his motivations. I mean, like just a second ago here when he picked up the free businessman, you can kind of see that kind of look of he's almost like sort of disgusted. You can tell he's sort of it's really not. It's not his his job of choice. He's doing it because he has to. And
yeah, it's the actor Liu Wai Hung. We'll speak more of him, and it's the central theme of the movie though that he's sick of society. He wants to do something about it, and his journey really is about choosing his battles, and in the end choosing one battle out of a million battles out there. And that's a wise thing to realize. He will realize it kind of the hard way though, that you can't save the entire world, and as I said, we'll speak more of Liu Wai Hung, and he's usually a comedic actor in film, and this is very, very much an unusual role for him. And early on, I can see, having watched a shitload of films with him prior to this commentary, this role feels and looks different already, early on here. It's not like we are... Yeah, go ahead.
This is the famous Yamate police station. This is. If you to the left of it, off to the left, you got the Jade and Temple Street markets, and off to the right of this, you got like a really kick-ass repertory cinema.
Right.
I'm quite familiar with this area here.
Oh, cool.
From the visits to Hong Kong.
I knew there's a reason we had David on, Ken.
Yeah, it's a travelogue time,
Yeah.
But going back to Liu, he looks tired. He's supposed to be tired, like a person is tired of society. And there's no mugging, and certainly no dramatic mugging, because sometimes with comedic actors they act big, even when doing dramatically. But I think Liu does really well, and he's a brave character that jumps into action during the robbery. And in other scenes in Hong Kong movies, regular people don't want anything to do with the police. Just they want to turn their eye and back to this and just hope for the best that they are never involved. And obviously, he wants to take a stand. And the role is funny based on that scenario in the toilet where he chases the robber. He screams to lure out the robber, and it's kind of charming, common man, naive behavior. Come out. He tries, and he breaks sweat early, and he's violent kind of early, and it's not an odd sight for this actor for us to see this who are familiar with him. He was never a Dean Sheck in terms of comedic annoyance, but comedy was kind of his forte, I guess, or is what he was known for, and he's suitably given a role that is an underdog role. He's unlucky, and that's only the first sign of him being unlucky. Good intentions gone wrong in that scene, and by the way, I got to also point out I am weak for the type of colored lights chosen for this type of scene. Bring out the green, bring out the red, bring out the blue for me. I love that. It's such, especially on VHS. I know that probably doesn't make sense to anyone, but I love when the colors always almost bleed. They're so strong they bleed. So
it works with the film. I think the format it's on. We're watching it through.
Yeah. And obviously he wants to become a police officer. He wants to go all the way in that regard to be a public servant. And it's fun. I think he questions here during the scene where she thinks he's colorblind, and he is, as a matter of fact, as it turns out a little bit. But I think he argues essentially, it's not word by word from subtitles, that why can't imperfections, in me mean that I can fight, in an imperfect world and imperfect robbers and robberies. I still have the attitude to do this. Don't fail me because of technicality. Which is, I know, applying for a police officer should be strict, but I like that, he has an attitude about him.
Yeah, I think failing the entrance test there, it's one of the many experiences that he has throughout the course of the film. Actually, sort of that feeds into the story in its later stages.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think that the script in the opening. In this opening sort of 5-10 minutes, actually smarter than it probably needs to be, but it's very welcome to have that kind of effort put in.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's not a stretch to reach, the good stuff. It already early on starts the script to set up the sort of the journey and the theme. And based on that, I'll briefly talk about the scriptwriter, which is known if you start to talk about some of the movies the scriptwriter has been behind. Sang Kan-jung, mostly known as a frequent writer on Stephen Chow films, ranging from God of Cookery in 1996 and onwards, including on CJ7. And in fan circles, though, as well as that rep, Tsang is known for the one and only movie he directed. It is widely regarded as one of the nastiest and grim Category 3 movies ever made, and is called Intruder, made during the early days of the Johnny Toes and Waikafai's production house Milky Way. It was done in 1997. And it stars the terrific and sorely missed Wu Qianlian from A Moment of Romance and Beyond Hypothermia. For fantastic actress, and she plays this mainlander trying to get into Hong Kong by taking over other people's identities, and she terrorizes poor Wayne Lai in that movie in a sort of a calculated, sadistic manner. And it's very unsettling and incredibly well shot. Shot by frequent Johnny To cinematographer, which is fucking hell, I've forgotten his name, but regardless, he's the one that shot many of his movies, and included that one. And so, well done, Sang. And go out and look up Intrude. It's on German DVD with subtitles. And here's... I recognize this actress, but she was in a Hong Kong movie database, and I didn't recognize where she was from otherwise. But here's a bitch, And
I feel so sorry for him in this scene.
Yeah, you wonder, though...
so sorry.
You wonder, though, was this relationship that he apparently has with her ever good? Or did she, turn into an unkind woman over time? But it doesn't look that way, But you wonder, though, in a kind of, I guess it's a sign of a bad setup. How did these two get together? You know what I mean?
Almost feel like they were kind of, at one point living in poverty together, and she's kind of made her way up, and now she's not interested in him. I kind of get the vibe from her actions and what she says to him.
Yeah, I can see that. And I think that there's... I might not have been paying attention properly, but I think there's, that he's an immigrant. As a matter of fact, he's a mainland immigrant, and I guess that should go hand in hand with you were saying, Tom, and certainly his friend that he spoke with 2-3 scenes ago is also a fellow immigrant. But there's signs of further strings of bad luck in that scene for Liu Wai-hung. He has good intentions, and then he wants to here he sits, saying the right things, being a little bit tough, but in the moments, trying to stand up for himself, he can't, and he sort of gears down, and becomes the one that is easily pushed around, which is very sad. And wow, I love red neon illuminating his apartment. I would love to live in this kind of apartment. And but anyway, we do see Kathy Chow, but I think we should go on and speak a little bit about Ali. Liu Wai-hung is playing the harmonica rather unconvincingly, but go ahead, David. What is to say about Liu Wai-hung?
Yeah, Liu Wai-hung was born in 1957, joined TVB as a young man in 1977, worked in various TV series before hitting big in 1979.
Isn't this wonderful, by the way? the joy, sort of naive joy, and then what kind of party is he getting into? So, yeah, go ahead.
Hitting big in '79 with a show that has the familiar English title of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It is his success in this show that earned him the nickname of Ah-chan. It also became used as a means of reference to mainland immigrants of the era. The show also starred Chow Yun-fat, Shi Kin, Carol Dodo Cheng, and Simon Yam. He made his feature debut in 1980 alongside Chow Yun-fat in Police Sir. Worked in film throughout the decade. Along the way, working with the likes of Moon Lee, Xiao Feng, Kenny B, and
me?
And a number of films with Kent Cheng. He finished the decade on a high with the double whammy of the film we're doing the commentary on today, and the Yun Bu star The Iceman Cometh. He pretty much stopped working in film shortly after, and has, in the last 20 years, only made 2 films, 2001's Comic King with Nick Say and Ethan Chan, and the 2006 drama Rain Dogs. Most of his time in the last 2 decades has been spent in a variety of business ventures, including karaoke, barbecue, and various agricultural businesses. Notably, he has a brand of organic rice named after his nickname / breakout TV role. Comedically an acquired taste, but has left behind a number of films that people still talk about today. Not least of all, Nobody's Hero, and that's he's got TV and film that people remember him for. So that's not such a bad thing.
No, never a bad thing. No. I want to track back a little. I love this when he reacts to his girlfriend Monica smoking, and the subtitles read, "You should learn smoking." You know what? I think she does know. But really, it's distressing and really cruel how they make fun of him. This is stuff that gets to me. To be honest, it's not funny.
Yeah, it's very affecting. I think the way it's shot as well, with when there was a shot through the camera lens, it was very like all eyes on him.
Yes.
So very, very, very cruel.
And it's a role I think that is very thought out in the way they cast him, and it's not like he was, he showed up first or anything, or it really seems like they thought this out and wanted to find a role that fit him, or find an actor to fit this role. And I don't think it's very random the way he was cast in this movie, as the movie shows all throughout. I think he has a good through line. A logical through line. Again, he doesn't slip into his, a quiet taste of comedy as such.
I think that whole sequence there of the party and the news that, she's going off to Japan, it's a real kind of, a 1-2 kind of punch to, he's already quite sort of, damaged and, sort of disheartened by this point. And that's a real kind of, just a real kind of low blow.
Yeah. And the blows will get even lower, as the movie goes on. It's really distressing and heartbreaking. On some of his movies, I watched a few, including the one movie here's Kathy Chow. How wonderful she is. I think she's an underused actress, but we will get back to that when she's in the movie a bit more. I saw his only